sorry for actually I gave you some in-depth knowledge of actually some of the things actually which might not require in depth to you. So actually just you need to know actually what is an application. Everything is called rules. And with the rule set, actually just there are three versions: major, minor, and patch. And the class structure, actually there are two types of inheritance: directed inheritance and pattern inheritance. So that is not required in that knowledge actually how that it works. So we can get it that into the end of the class. We will get into that. Okay. And finally, the layer, I think like in Pega that is called as situation layer case. And there actually we divide depend on the region and in the framework. So the framework layer can be multiple. Okay. There can be, we can have multiple framework layers can be integrated, depends on the policy, then region, then within that jurisdictions or litigations, so that actually we can, and finally the implementation layer where actually we are going to be specialized one. So that actually we have covered yesterday. So I know actually there will be some confusion still with that, but that will be going to be cleared onto the remaining classes. So first thing actually today we are going to back to that. So this will be not covering anything onto the Pega point of view. So we are not going to know first actually what actually application differs from from traditional application. So that actually we going to start with that. And then actually within that, actually we are going to see how actually a business architect plays a role in Pega application. Okay, so when actually it is sorry. So if you see in this diagram, actually, which I just want to show you that if you like in a traditional software which are using some other apart from not Pega, actually they are actually designing. If they have actually some website, if they have a mobile application, if they have actually customer relationship management, so their all things are requirements, business policies, their performance rules, everything is managed separately. Like they manage separately to the website one, separately to the mobile, separately to the CRM or actually in cloud. So that is actually getting separately. But in Pega, everything is like is in a single place, which is actually getting connected with different applications from the same place. So website, mobile, or CRM or cloud, everything can become from a single unified architecture. And all the things are actually the requirements, policies, monitoring, analytics, everything is integrated in a single platform itself. So that makes actually the Pega is a unified architecture. So normally if we see like how issue works in Pega, so first actually we start with the specifications. So there actually we initially try with some models like process models, UI mockups that will be get created, and Pega 7 is like mainly focused on the case designing. So completely like the complete case, the model will be converted into a dynamic case. And within the case, we define the process or UI or anything that will be done onto that. So this part is mainly done by BA role in Pega. So that will be going to discuss more onto that, how that is happening. And then actually from the specification, SA will pick that up part and that will be converted into different actual rules which will be going to complete the application. And finally that end, it will be going to start with the users. They will might use the user portal or mobile portal to use that. And also Pega application can be integrated as a gadget in a web page. So that also within like in a company website, you want it like the Pega need to be added as a just gadget. So that is also provided by Pega. The feature is there in that. That feature is called a mashup. So that actually we're not going to cover. Just for information, you can get to know that the gadget can be added as a in a web page of any company sites as well. Yeah. So there are the three domains. Actually, first, actually, the complete the first left top is actually like analyst, the architect or SA role, and finally the users we are going to use the application.
Mukesh, what was that mashup you said? Sorry.
Yeah, mashup is actually, say, you have a web page, okay, your company web page, okay, and you want to include Pega as actually one of the gadgets within that. So, okay, I'll just show you an example actually what is the mean by gadget. So give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Have you heard about iGoogle?
Yes.
So iGoogle actually provide actually say in that actually there are various gadgets are there. So it will come just a minute. So if you can see, this is actually a portal, okay. So here you can see actually there are various portals are there. Actually like the gadgets. So US actually like the stock market, weather, all the Google links, okay, and Wikipedia, Twitter, everything is you can see in a single page. So you can integrate your Pega application also as a gadget here. So that actually in Pega that is called as Mashup, or before it
Okay.
was called as IAC, Internet Application Composer. Now it was renamed as Mashup in Pega 7.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, so that's actually like in the red you can see that the role of your business architect actually like he is going to involve the complete throughout the software development, and then he is going to work with the subject matter experts and SMEs and the case worker, case manager, and from that actually they will get to know what is actually like the requirements and what is their objectives, and that objectives will be get converted into requirements. So there is actually we can see objectives getting converted into requirements, requirements getting converted into specifications. And then actually like the BA are actually like, is the terminology say that they are the main interaction, the communication point between the business users and the technical users. So they are actually the advocate for business users. So what they want, actually they want actually, okay, this business requirement. So that will be going to inform to the SA, okay, we want this need to be designed in this way, or this want actually the user want in this way. So that actually like they are the communication point between the business users and to the technical point of user. So after actually the objectives and requirements are designed, then they actually work with the subject matter expert and or SAs to define actually like the specifications, and within that the technical specification are getting converted into the application. So business architect do one more part. Actually, they take care of that. Like, what is the current state of the business process? What is actually like, what is the different efficiency or anything, or how they can improve the process, or how can we can automate any reproducible actions?
Mukesh,
Sorry.
is it just me, or I don't know, my internet problem, or your sound is completely breaking up? Is it happening to everybody or just me?
Yes, it's happening. Sometimes it's happening.
It's
The
happening?
voice is breaking.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, just all of a sudden it started happening for me. Like last 1 minute, whatever you said was completely breaking.
Oh, for me, it seemed to be okay.
okay. Okay, I'll try to like okay. I'm not sure if like I don't think so. If like is there any internet issue from my end, because I have actually like very high bandwidth, actually like 20 Mbps. So not sure, on maybe actually like there was some fluctuation happen onto the internet connection. So if actually if that has happened, you can just interrupt me. I'll wait for some more time. Yep. Okay. So now it's clear for everyone.
Well, it's kind of same, but let us see how it goes.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Mukesh, these business architects are the product owners and business analysts, or just we can call business analyst as the business architect?
Yeah.
They
Business
are
analyst.
different.
Yeah. Business analyst and business architects are the same. Actually, like if you say, I'm going to tell you about like what is the difference between a like traditional business architect who works in different application and who works in Pega. What's the role they play differently in Pega application? So the
There are
business,
product owners also who talk with the end user, and they also bring the requirements.
uh,
So
that you're talking
that's,
about one methodology. I feel like that is the part of the agile methodology. There is like one term it will be called as product owner.
yeah,
So
so we have
I feel
product
like
owners, we have,
these actually in
yes,
the term, they are the business stakeholders. So they are actually
okay,
going to be the main responsibility of the sponsoring, and like the final product will be like their ownership onto that.
okay,
So their business analyst and business architect roles are actually to define the objectives and then that convert into requirements. So that the product owner is, he will just liaise with the like your SMEs and the business analyst.
okay.
So there is the multiple roles you can see business analysts do. We are going to see that like what are the different roles they perform into the next slides.
Okay.
So if you can see that what's actually like the main objective of the business architect in Pega application is that so they engage with the business experts and users. They define the quantifiable objectives. They define the requirements, and they prepare the specification and with the consult with the system architect or SMEs, and they actually like the main person who will be like guiding throughout the development process, and they also guide the testing team if there are any defects which require any more input or analysis onto that. So it's actually like not related to any business role, but this is actually about the methodology. It's like any development process, actually respective of which methodology we use. Actually, like, there are three things which comes into the picture. So what will be the scope? Actually, why we are creating that application? So what will be that objective? What will be the requirements? So that actually comes as the first part, the scoping of the thing. So if that actually scoping in Pega done by DCO, that is we call as direct capture of objective. So that we are going to see in future classes how we can plan for DCO. Okay, and then implementation. So that is like where we got the specification, we want to convert the specification into the complete final application. Then we want to test the application, and finally, if we feel like everything is defect free, we can provide that uh, solutions to business users to finally test it out. And after this, so there are three steps we follow in every methodology. So there are different methodology which are present. So you can see it like the waterfall. So there is the legacy project methodology. So many companies are still following for Pega application for waterfall approach only. So in waterfall approach, actually like all the steps need to be completed before the next step should be started. So if you say we are doing the planning, so the planning should be completed before the requirement should be getting should be started. So requirement should be completed before the design should be started, and the complete design should be completed before the implementation should be started onto that. And most of the Pega projects, actually Pega's best practice is that go for agile methodology. Okay, in the Scrum, actually there actually we go for we divide the complete requirements into multiple use cases, and then which all use cases can be defined within a short period of time, and that can be delivered for the end user to test, and finally it can be delivered. So that we do that in the scrums. And Pega provides its own methodology, like it's a combination of waterfall and scrum, that is called as Pega BPM. So that is like there are multiple phases with the Pega BPM that start with the initiation, inception, and elaboration and construction goes in multiple rounds onto that. So based on that, we go to the different phases. We go with the elaboration and construction of that one, and finally in the transition, we do it was we say that the UAT round. There we found the defect fixing or everything onto that, and finally we go live onto the BPM. And some of the companies follow their own approach. So there is one example, they are maintaining their own methodology for developing applications. So in every project methodology, there are three things: scoping, implementation, and verification. So business architect plays role depend on different methodology. Their role becomes a little bit different onto that. So that we are going to see into the onto the remaining classes. So now actually if we see the example, how a role of business architect different from a traditional business architect. So in case of traditional business architect, they actually design objectives like the same way we do for Pega as well. So they define objectives, they define requirements, specifications, they create mock-ups and everything, but they do it separate applications. They will use mock-ups separately. The process modeling, they might use Visio or some other rule, and actually that will be going to use it in a separate place. And they gave it to the IT team to develop it. And after and they don't involve during the development phase. Actually, the part is done. So they have just completed everything, and they just give it to IT team to start building onto that. So IT team start working onto it, and after some time, they will say that okay, we have completed the application. Then it will the role of BA will come during the UAT phase afterwards. During the user acceptance testing, we start involving BA once again if there is analysis is there. So there is BA is not completely involved into the development phase. But in Pega application, the business analyst play a more active role. He is involved throughout the application. He is actually whatever is objective, requirements, and specification, what is developed, that is as part of a DCO, that is getting captured within the Pega application itself. Okay, and so that actually become the foundation. So whatever the things it is get developed, it will be in a central place within the Pega application itself. And then he is getting involved to the within the Pega. There are different rules for the UI modeling, process modeling, reporting, correspondence, emails. So that all the works actually getting done by a business architect in Pega itself. And then finally, SA will do the development onto that. So they interact with SAs, testers throughout the development cycle of the project. So that's actually which I described just now. So they involve whatever the objectives, requirements, specification, they complete into the PRPC application itself. And so that I told, they are just actually not just do the objectives or requirement or specification. Apart from that, there is actually their work is to designing the workflows, creating the mock-up UI frames, automatic business policy that contains service level actions, decisions. So they actually involve onto that as well, and they can design the reports. They can create the email templates. What are the email need to be sent? That can be done within the Pega application itself. And actually, the business analysts are actually very good. They are very good. Oh, sorry. So they are good in actually to find actually like they have actually good analytical skills and they have actually already expertise. So they know actually like what is the project risk, what is the benefits, and how they can find the gap analysis, how they can communicate with the project and sponsors. So that actually like, they can use their skills. Apart from the Pega skills, they can use that skills as well to improve the process efficiency. Okay, and the final thing is that okay, the role actually you can say there are some of the rules which are creating workflows, UI, automatic business policy, reports are actually like the you can see that it says that like it's a technical role, but there is nothing required any technical part of it. They are actually completely any without any technical knowledge. All the things can be built up in Pega application. So there is not required any technical to do any programming or any coding to design workflows or UI wireframes. So it was not technical role. So any non-technical person or a non-technical background business architect can perform all the creation of the rules within the Pega itself. Yeah.
Mukesh, what
Yes, sir.
can you please tell again that what is the full form of this PRPC?
It's Pega rules process commander.
Okay.
Okay, so then see like we say before actually when they started it was renamed as Pega PRPC. So that is like the process rules, everything is process and everything was named as rules, and so that's why they named as Pega rules process commander. So because Pega applications work actually like it can be worked as a BRE application as well. There actually we don't have business rule engine. So that apart from your BPM and CRM, it can be used as a business rule engine. So there you can use all the business validations and it can be used as a validation tool for that.
Okay.
So Pega works actually there is no UI, no only that flow will be there, actually like one black box like that. So it will be inputted to something and it will give you the output as well onto that, the validation point. So that actually in that point of view, Pega works as a BRE application. So that's why I feel like it's a combination of BPM, CRM, and DRE. So many things we can do within the Pega.
Yeah, Mukesh, just one technical question, kind of. We can, like in claims processing, because since I work on claims, when you get a claim and process, like okay, you have business rules in there set up in this as rules, right? And then we can process a claim through Pega and get that claim as okay, denied or paid, or take a decision on that claim based on the business rules. Is it possible? Is it how?
Yeah. That is very much possible. Actually, you can. There are actually like the frameworks are there into the claim framework, so that everything actually like the adjusting of the claim, the loss details, everything actually can be like there are different roles: adjuster, surveyors, subrogations, salvage, everything there in that framework. Everything was available.
Okay, so that you can find, basically feed a claim in at one end, and you can get the output at the other side saying, okay, this claim is good, and you are a valid recipient or valid user and valid policy holder, so you are good, and you are applying all the rules, say that okay, you are checking on the name, policy number, the validity, all those things can be done, and then say okay, pay this claim. That can be done, right, from end to end.
Yeah, Manoj, everything can be done end to end because I works also in insurance domain.
Okay.
So there actually we do actually like a lot of claim processing. That's why I actually know all the terminology of that salvage, subrogations, and everything. So we do it like experts. There are litigation, sanctions, everything can be included within that. So that actually like everything can be combined and actually give you final. And there is actually like there are some frameworks actually which do fraud elsewhere, like fraud detections. So actually if you can want to check if the claim is genuine or fraud, so there are some analytics are also there. Based on that analytics, you can find it out if the person is a genuine or actually the claim is genuine or is a fraud as well.
Okay. Okay.
So they have actually like different frameworks are already available for the claim side.
Okay. Good. So I mean, it can process like at a time 100,000 claims.
It depends actually like one. That is
Okay.
defined actually application we use accord message to process onto that. So that is supportable. Um, we are not actually sure about the quantity of the messages, but yeah, actually like so we can process a good amount of claims at one point of time.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because like in healthcare, from where I work, like they get millions of claims in a day. Sorry, in a week, in a month. So in a day, it can be like 100,000 claims being processed. So or more, like more than 100,000. Could be 500,000 claims work being processed. So that much volume it can handle, right?
Yeah. Pega can support that much volume because
Oh,
see,
okay.
actually they are widely used into the processing of the banking transactions. So banking transactions are onto the same volume.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that's actually like you can see what is the difference of a business and architect role in Pega, how it differs uh, from the traditional business architect. So they actually the role is more active into the Pega and just not doing creating the specification, and their role is started actually to create more rules, how to create the prototype onto that, and that prototype can be used by the SA to design it more because the UI what was created will be not creating the complete validation or anything. Then he will take the help of SAs to complete the application, and they like throughout the application they need to involve with the SAs to develop the application. So actually they are actually become the part of the development team as well. And but in case of normal business process or normal different application, they are not part of the development team. But in Pega, they are part of the development team as well. So we can see actually like whatever things actually we are designing, objectives, requirements, specification, and then finally we are going to design the application. So it's depending like if the your specifications are accurate, we'll get a better application. The quality of the application which was built, it will be better. So specifications are depend on to the requirements. If the requirements are clear, then actually we are going to get the good specification and good application. And then the requirements are coming from the objectives. So if the objectives are quantifiable means, so actually we say you want to the claim response time. So you want to reduce the claim response by 20%. Yeah, sure, Sonam. I'm just going to repeat it once. Okay. So what I'm saying in this HPC, when we go the bottom-down approach, so if we say an application is built from the specification, specifications are built from the requirements, and requirements are built from the objectives. So if their specifications are accurate, so directly will get a better application. And specifications are dependent on requirements. So if the requirements are clear, we are going to get the better specification. So there is like you can say there is dependency between all these three. So which is the basic job for a business architect role. So in the remaining classes, we are going to see how we can write a smart objective. Okay, how we can go for the requirements, how we can go with the writing onto the specifications. So that is actually Pega's best practice. So we are going to cover in Pega's terminology, how we going to write objectives, how we are going to write the requirements, how we should go for specifications. Yeah. So just in knowledge check, actually just want to see that actually whatever covered, I'll just put in some questions so that I'll get some answers for the same. Okay, so yeah, so this is the question. Which statement best describes the difference between a traditional business architect and a Pega business architect? Can anyone answer, please? CO. Yeah, it's actually like okay. Is it fine now, Manoj? Yes, answer is 2. Actually, like business.
Mukesh, I completely lost you. If you're saying something, I can't hear anything. I can hear only one word, syllable here and there. Like, is it just me again?
Yeah, what I'm saying is actually like I've put some questions onto that to check the current actually whatever actually we said to check that the onto that. So the question is actually like it says that what is the difference between a traditional business
Can't hear
architect and a
anything.
Pega
Sorry.
business architect? Sorry, Manoj, you're not able. Is it still breaking?
Is it just me? I'm not hearing anything. I mean, like I can hear once in a while, here and there, one word.
Priyanka,
Okay.
is it good
Looks
for
like
you?
Sonam says she can hear. Okay. So it's kind of
Good for me.
intermittent, like one person sometimes gets it, the other person doesn't get it. Wow. Mukesh, are you speaking or?
No, currently I'm not speaking anything.
No.
Just I told now.
Okay.
So did you hear this one?
Man, okay. Well, I don't know what happened. What's going on? Mine.
Manoj, maybe you can disconnect and join in and see again.
Yeah, that might
I'm
be
not sure
helpful.
if that's there.
Hello? Hey, Mukesh?
Hmm?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Oh yeah, I can hear you now. Everything went silent, quiet for some time.
Oh, okay.
I think I see Sonam 2 times logged in.
Yeah, actually Sonam has joined one back.
I have also logged off because I could not unmute myself, so
Hello.
I have
Yes,
joined another session and I
Manoj and
can also see.
Sonam, yeah, I am requesting you guys, please install this desktop version in your machines. I have sent that link in your email.
Oh,
If you install the desktop version,
okay.
by that you can able to join with meeting ID. So that will resolve these problems. That will be very clear.
Oh. Oh, okay.
I will send it once again, that link. You have to install that one and you will get one enter the meeting ID like that. You have to enter this meeting ID.
That's going to be a fixed meeting ID all the time?
Yeah, that is fixed meeting ID all the time.
Oh, okay. So do you want us to do it right now or?
For now, you can continue it. After the session, you will be there in the meeting. I will help you. Is it
okay.
fine for you, right?
Yeah, it's I can hear now.
Okay, okay. Or else, Mukesh, can you please hold for